Hello Year 5 and welcome to your Week 4 PSHE session. This is a continuation from our last lesson where we looked at dares and some potential problems when we dare our friends to do something. Today we're looking more specifically at risk and what a risk is and how and where risks turn up in different scenarios. So first of all, I thought it'd be important, in order to tell me what a risk is or whether there is a risk in a situation, we need to know what the definition of risk is. So as you can see, it is a noun and it is a situation involving exposure to danger. So we need to take that definition and think a risk. What, in the upcoming scenarios, is the potential danger for the people involved? So, I'm now going to read through some scenarios to you. After each scenario, I'd like you to pause the video and answer 2 questions. Question number 1 is going to be, what do you think the risk is? And then number 2, just a quick sentence or quick thought, what advice do you give to this person? So scenario number 1. Shay has a headache. There are no adults at home. He finds some paracetamol in the bathroom cupboard. The leaflet inside the box is missing. Should he take some paracetamol anyway? So if this were me, I would be saying, what is the risk? The risk is taking the paracetamol because he is unsure of what it is. Or Shay might also be a she. So there's no adults at home to help. Just because it is in a box, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is the right paracetamol, the right thing to take at the time. So the risk is taking that thing and having unknown consequences. So that would be my answer to part 1. And part 2, what's my advice? My advice to Shay is, have a glass of water, make sure that you rest, and when a parent comes back, ask them whether it is safe to take that particular thing or whether they can recommend you something else. So, I'd like you now to have a go at scenario 2. On the way home from school, Sophie sees a clear plastic bottle lying on the pavement. The top is on, the liquid inside is clear. It is 3/4 full, and the label has come off. She is very thirsty. Should she drink it? So if you now pause the video and write down your thoughts of what is the risk and what advice do you give Sophie? So hopefully you've done that now and we can move on to scenario 3. Jade has met a 14-year-old boy from a local school in the park a few times. They talk and play on the swings. Her friends were always with her. He asked her to meet him there the next day, alone. Should she go? So again, pause the video and write down, what do you think the risks could be? There might be more than one. And what advice would you give Jade in this scenario? What could you tell her to do? Scenario number 4. Danny worked hard all weekend for his maths test on Monday morning. James is his best friend who's done no work at all. He tells Danny to leave his paper uncovered on the desk so he can copy the answers. What should Danny do? So again, what are the risks? What are the risks perhaps you might want to think about for Danny? What are the risks for James? And then for the second part, what should Danny do? And again, if you need some time, just pause the video. And our final scenario, scenario number 5. Ahmed saw and heard 2 girls being really horrible to the new girl. She's only been in class for a week. No one saw him there. What should he do? So this one could be a little bit more in depth. You might want to think about, what are the risks for Ahmed? What are the risks for the 2 girls who are being horrible? What are the risks for the new girl? And then finally, give Ahmed some advice. So now you've done those 5 scenarios, if you turn back to your worksheet, At the very bottom, there is an activity for you to try on your own. Another short scenario and a few questions for you to try to answer independently based on that scenario. And don't forget to submit the advice and the risks that you gave in the first 5 scenarios and what you're about to do independently to your teacher via the class email.